Hi, this is Lisa at Lisa's Sewing Shop. I want to give you another potential gift idea for this time of year. This happens to be my own personal wallet that I made. If you want to kind of look closely at it, can you tell what it was made from? Yeah, you'd be right. The bottom of a pant leg. We were hemming some jeans. I never throw any of the bottoms of the pants away. I keep all of them in my scrap stash. And I make things like this. So what I did was, this was the actual bottom of the pant leg. I put a couple of snaps on here, rolled it around, and inside here is my wallet. I have enough room for a couple of gift cards, my cash, deposit tickets for the bank, and my checkbook. So, and it's very heavy duty because it's out of the jean material. This is very easy to make. I happen to have a pair of pink jean pants that we cut off to make shorts out of, and I've got one of the legs left, and I'm going to give you some ideas on what you can do. So you have some old pants, cut off the legs, save the shorts for this coming summer, but use the rest of the leg to make gifts for your Christmas season or for birthdays or whatever you need a gift for. So on this particular pant leg, there's some top stitching on this side that I thought looked pretty good. I think I'll kind of keep that as a decoration. Notice it's 2 layers. I haven't taken the pant leg apart. You can see it's actually the pant leg. And what I'm going to do though is over here is the seam that would have went up the inside of the leg. This is a little bit too wide. So I want to keep the decorative part over here. And I'm going to look at this. I need this to be just enough so I can sew a 1/4 inch seam. Right there where I'm running my fingernail along, that's where that seam is on the other side. So I know that that's the right width. So if I turn that over, and if I use my good shears and cut right next to the seam there that was the inside leg seam when they were being worn, and cut that straight up, I'll set this piece of scrap aside. Now, my material to make my wallet, except instead of blue jeans, it'll be pink jeans, is now the correct width to work on. I'm going to turn this way so you can see how that lines up on there. Now I've got an extra 1/4 inch on each side to make a seam. So that's going to come out really nice. Now, also, just so you know, there was no pattern for this. I created this myself. And I do this kind of stuff all the time. So here's my cheapy little ruler. From here to the fold is 7 inches. Then this part that folds up right here, 7, that'll be 11 1/4. Okay, so I need 11 1/4 plus enough to sew a seam for the length. So I've noticed this is a little bit crooked right here. So I am going to just eyeball this. I'm not going to do anything fancy. And let me get a piece of my tailor's chalk here. Okay, nothing fancy. I'm just going to trim off that little crooked piece. All the way through both sides of the leg that had been cut off originally. There we go. Now, I need this to be 11 1/4 plus 1/4 inch for each seam. And now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of like that 1/2 inch seam right there that looks like the bottom of a pant leg, because that's really what that is. I think I'm going to duplicate that on here. So I'm going to go a little bit longer. I'm going to make this like 5/8 inch extra, so I can make a blue jean seam there. So then I need to come up to 11 1/4 plus another 5/8 inch for this side. So there's a half, there's 5/8 inch right there. Let me get my little tailor's chalk. We want that right there. Okay. So then I need to measure again. 5/8, go up, 11 1/4 plus 5/8 again, right there. Okay, so right there where those two marks are, I'll draw a straight line across with my tailor's chalk. That's my cutting line. So let's cut that. Okay, everything's all cut out. I mean, how much simpler was that? That's pretty good, huh? So here's what I'm going to do. I want to, first of all, turn this wrong side out, okay? This is what would have been on the inside of the jeans. You can see that. That's where I'm keeping that top stitching as a decorative look. I'm going to match these up over here. There's my two raw edges. And I am going to do just a straight sew 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to back stitch just like normal. Sew straight up the side 1/4 inch away from the raw edge and back stitch down here. As soon as I get that done, I'll be right back with you and I'll show you what's next. Okay, so now I've got the seam sewed and I want you to look closely. I did a straight seam 1/4 inch wide. Then you're going to notice I put some zigzag up here as a seam finish. Blue jean material ravels quite a bit, and I didn't want it raveling out and causing problems. So once I did the 1/4 inch seam, I just did some zigzag, basic, nothing fancy, along the edge there to hold that all together so it wouldn't ravel. Okay? Now, we're ready for the next part. On this one, you'll notice these are turned up to make it look like, and I think you can't see it that direction. There we go. These are turned up to look like the bottom of a leg from blue jeans. So what we want to do is turn up both ends and top stitch it so that we can have that look. So what I'm going to do is, with these wrong side out, I am going to turn these up. I'm going to measure it. I want a 1/2 inch top stitch. So I need 5/8 inch, which is an extra 1/8 of an inch, in order for me to have enough room to sew everything. So what I'm doing first is I'm going to turn these kind of like this. I'm going to measure them, and I'm going to use my little seam gauge measure because it's a little easier when you're doing smaller pieces of fabric. And I'm going to get these where I want. Then I'm going to get my wool pressing mat out, and I'm going to press this. Then, once I get it pressed, I'll turn it right side out, and I'm going to top stitch it. That way we know exactly that everything's going to be straight, neat, and clean. So let me get all this measured, pinned, get my pressing mat out, and I will be back and show you what it looks like before we sew it. And then I'll show you what it looks like after we sew it. Okay, so I have the first side measured for 5/8 of an inch all the way around, all right. Now I've got this laying out. This is that seam that I wanted to keep for decorative purposes. I think you can see that right there. So it'll lay a little bit to the side. The new seam I did will tuck over and be flat like this. Okay. So let me get my old yucky looking pressing cloth. Let me get that over the edge there. And my little teeny iron that I use. We'll press down hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move it over, do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move it over, do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That's not too bad. Let me turn that over. Let's do it one more time on the other side, just to make sure we've got everything nice and flat, because it'll make it a lot easier to sew if it is flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I do want to give you a couple of tips here. Yes, I have a wool pressing mat. Yes, I've got a little teeny extra iron here. Excuse me. If you don't have those things, a regular ironing board, a regular iron will work. Or back in the day when I didn't have that, I had an iron, but I didn't have an ironing board or a mat. I just would fold up a bath towel and lay my material on the bath towel and use my iron on that. You don't have to spend a bunch of money. Use what you have. It'll be just fine. Okay, so now that we've got this, see how nice and flat those are laying? That's the exact same thing I'm going to do on the other side. And when I get that done, then I will return and we'll look at the next step. Okay, so now I've got everything pinned, pressed, measured, and I wanted to show it to you. This will be the inside of the wallet. This will be the outside, and this is that decorative stitch that was already on there that I wanted to keep just for looks. That is on there too. Now that other seam that I did, the 1/4 inch seam, notice I moved it in so it's not going to show, but I also did that because then I can make more of this one where it would show for decorative purposes. I have the ends pressed. 5/8 inch is tucked down in there. Everything's pressed in place. This is ready to top stitch. Same with down here. So I'm going to go to my machine. I'm using a 3.3 long stitch. Jean material normally has a longer stitch, and actually it will show up on this one better. If you can see that longer straight stitch that's on there, that's what I'm looking to mimic. So I'm going to stitch very close to the edge right here, and again a 1/2 inch away here. So let me get this set up. Let me get it where I can show you the top stitching, and we'll be right. Okay, so I'm getting ready to top stitch the first part, and I'm going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the folded edge. I'm also, because I'm sewing with blue jean material, I'm using an 18 gauge blue jean needle, okay? So probably a good idea not to use a little skinny needle. It'll probably break, because you're going through very thick fabric. So let me take some pins out here. I should be able to go over them, but I don't want to break a needle, so I'm not willing to risk it. That right there, that's real thick, that's where that seam that I made, the 1/4 inch seam, is on the other side. So it's extra layers thick there. So I was going a little bit slow to make sure I got through all of that. Okay, so here we go. We will back stitch our 3 stitches and off the end, cut our thread. There we go. So there is our first part. Now, this jean material is kind of stretchy, so when I get done sewing this, I will also go through and press this again to kind of take out any of this little lettucey looking stuff. Now I'm going to go down and I'm going to put this edge, this folded edge, on the 4/8 inch line. I'm going to do my back stitch, and then I've got a heavy part right here, so be careful with that. And I'm going to sew 4/8 of an inch all the way across so that it looks as close as possible to what it would have looked like on the bottom of a blue jean pant leg. Here we go, we're almost done. Back stitch, cut our thread, and we are finished. Okay, can you see? Pretty close to what it would have looked like on a blue jean pant leg. So I'm going to finish the other side and I will be right back for the next part. Okay, so now we're ready to do what I call the fold up. So here's mine. I've folded up the bottom and I folded down the top. That's simple. So that's what we want to do on this one. I want to fold up the bottom, line up the sides, and then I'm going to fold down the top. And then I'm going to press all this. Now this is kind of stretchy. And I said that before. I'm going to kind of stretch this as I press it to get everything lined up and even. So give me a few minutes and I will be back and show you what this is and what our next sewing part is. Okay, so I've got this pressed and I've got this folded up. So here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to kind of bring this up here close for you. Right here, where these two folds go together, this was turned up 4 inches. And so I'm going to stitch about a 1/16 inch away from the folded edge. Back stitch on both ends. As soon as I get that done on both sides, I'll be ready. So here's the end of our wallet. You'll notice I've got the sides sewed right there. Everything's nice and thick. The blue jean material, I didn't even put any interfacing in there because blue jean material is nice and heavy. The only thing you didn't see me do was I added some snaps. They look like this, and they will snap down. These are pretty heavy duty snaps. And so usually I'll try them 3 and 4 times before I give it to someone to kind of loosen them up a little bit. So how did I get the snaps on there? They're actually easier than you think. I have had this thing in my snap box for a long time. I think I got it at Joann Fabrics, which is not even open for business anymore, but I'm pretty sure you can get them at Hobby Lobby. They might even have them at Walmart. I'm not sure. You can double check with that. Amazon, I know you can order them. When you get them, they come with the instructions on what to do to put your snap on. Just follow the 4 steps of the instructions and you're good. That's all it takes. The little snaps come in packages like this. This one happened to be 5/8 inch was the size I had. And just so you'll know, in case you've never seen these, this is the part that you're seeing right here on the outside. This is, let me get this open back up here so you can see it. This is, let me get the other part out here. This is the part that is right there. So the fabric goes between them and this goes on there and the little crimper crimps those together. That's how that one stays on. This one down here is this piece is right there. And hold on a minute. Here we go. This piece, which is flat on the bottom, this is what it looks like on the inside. This piece goes through the bottom. This goes on top, and your crimper presses that on. That's what holds those together. So this is the top, and this is the bottom. And you do that on both sides. So that's how I put those on. Don't forget the instructions come with it. So not difficult to do. And the snaps you can buy fills at and whatever size. And some of these have decorative parts on the front. Some of them come in different colors. Whatever you like, they come with that. So our wallet is finished and ready to give as a gift for Christmas. There you go. Hope you like that. Here's my one out of Blue Jeans, if you want to see that one again. Notice I used kind of an old style antique brass on these instead of the shiny ones. So that gives you a couple different ideas, and all we did was cut the pant legs off of an old pair of jeans. That was it. So other than somewhere back in the day I bought this, I didn't buy anything else. Everything else was free. So this will make a great gift for somebody for Christmas. Talk to you later.